I have, every time that I play, that's the confidence or the belief that I have when I'm on the floor, that I'm the best player on the floor, the best player at that moment. So I have the ultimate confidence.
We've demonstrated a really good ability for us to be able to sign athletes just before they become really, really good. So we're really pushing, toward that with the impact that like a Stephen has. He believes in the brand, and he identified with us before really we even identified with him. Well, I think the Taiwanese people should take great pride in what they've meant, obviously, to consumer and to the textile industry as a whole. But really, it's thought leadership. I mean, there's one thing that's very unique is the leadership that exists across our entire supply base. There's always a line, there's 6 degrees of separation that always require a reason to come back.
Hi， 观众朋友您好，欢迎来到今天的看板人物。运动是跨国性的全球语言。看到这个场景，您已经猜到了。今天看板人物的主角，他本身不但具有国际的知名度，而他的故事呢，不但跟全球性有关，也跟运动有关。这个集团品牌创立了到今天刚好整整20年，在这段期间，他缔造了一些超越性的传奇话题。比方说，2014的时候，他在美国的市占率凌驾了老牌的 Adidas， 坐上了市场第2大的宝座。另外，我们看一下2015年他的单季财报高达美金8亿元，当然距离老大哥 Nike 是还有一段的距离。可是，在过去3年的时候呢，他成长的幅度是龙头老大哥的2倍。这个集团的创办人24岁的时候，从阿嬷的地下室起家，宛如科技界的车库传奇。而他强力猛攻所缔造的品牌传奇，很多人都津津乐道。今天让我们一起近距离的来听他自己说故事，那就是 Under Armour 集团的执行长 Kevin Plank。Kevin, good to see you here in Taipei. Welcome.
Thank you, Georgina. It's great to be here.
Yeah. How many times have you been here in Taiwan?
So when I started learning how to manufacture outside of the United States, Taiwan was the first place that I came to with a great partner.
Yeah, we knew that.
That we still do business with today called Eclat. So they've been very important to us. So I was probably here, I said earlier, probably 15 or 20 times in the first 7 years. Oh, yeah. So I've been there. It's been a while since I've been back, so it's great to be back. And Taipei looks amazing too. It's been probably 2 years since I've been here, but it's good to be home.
So I guess Taiwan has always been one stop of your very tight business schedule around Asia every time.
Yes. So our first market outside of the United States was Japan. And
Yeah,
so whenever I would come to Asia, I would come, I'd make a trip, I'd stop in Tokyo, I'd pick up our partner there, and then he would help me travel throughout Asia. So Taipei was usually the next stop, but always so much innovation, so much fabric innovation, textile innovation, and and plus it's a great place.
Wow, you're such a sharp observer.
Yes, yes.
Is every time you stay here so short?
Yes, I don't do anything long. Meaning, whenever we come through, it's city after city after city, and so when I'm on one of my tours, particularly an Asian tour, it's good to sleep and rest up before, and sleep and rest up after, because when we come through, it's usually it's get in, get to the hotel, put your stuff in the room, get back down to the lobby, go out to dinner. After dinner, you maybe have maybe you spend time, maybe a little karaoke or something, and then you go home, sleep a little bit, wake up early, you work until 2 o'clock, and then you go to the airport, fly to the next city, and then you repeat the same situation over and over.
So would you sometimes wake up in the morning and forget which city you are?
No idea. It's okay. I just know I got to be in the lobby at 7 a.m. So.
Okay. So Kevin, come next time, bring your family, take a vacation,
Yes.
so you can fully enjoy the beauty of our island.
No question. We've done that. I did that last year, and we had the family, so we didn't make it down to Taiwan, but I will definitely come back for that.
Yeah, actually, this is the best season for enjoy the hot spring here in Taiwan. Talk about Taiwan. Kevin, I know Taiwan means a lot to you and to the brand because you just mentioned Under Armour first came here for functional fabric to make your first product. And back then, 95% of your functional textile was purchased from Taiwan.
Yes.
And still now, the Taiwanese manufacturers are your long-term suppliers.
Yes.
Therefore, would like to hear your opinions. What do you think in the Taiwanese textile industry in terms of its potential and advantages?
Well, I think the Taiwanese people should take great pride in what they've meant, obviously, to consumer and to the textile industry as a whole. But really, it's thought leadership. I mean, there's one thing that's very unique is the leadership that exists across our entire supply base. There's always a line, there's 6 degrees of separation that always require a reason to come back with. Someone as a part of the best thinkers in any space seem to have a relationship back with the country of Taiwan, and particularly here in Taipei. We've been working and building incredible partnerships throughout the beginning of Under Armour. It's one of the keys to our success was, first and foremost, I say the 4 pillars of Under Armour. First and foremost, sort of make great product. Secondly, is to tell a great story about our product. Thirdly, is to service our business. And fourth is to build a great team. And number 4, it's probably the most important one. And some of the best teammates that I've built are some of the manufacturing and textile relationships that I have that come from right here in this country.
Yeah, Kevin, we all know you grew up playing football. That's why you have been so frustrated by the sweat, soul, cotton T-shirt after each game. Therefore, you search for functional fabric.
Yes.
In the very beginning of your business, when you made your first piece of sportswear, what is the key technology you had in hand so you have the confidence to make functional shirts at the end?
You're being nice and not telling me that I had a sweating problem, right? But it wasn't a bad sweating problem. There's nothing wrong with my glands. But yes, I did. I sweat, and it's hot outside. And remember, before Under Armour in 1996, athletes never had a choice for what they would wear beneath of their uniforms. It was either a short-sleeve cotton T-shirt in the summer or a long-sleeve cotton T-shirt in the winter. And as an athlete who was always competing against athletes that were bigger and faster and stronger, and just wondering, when I go out for competition, I'm wearing this gray cotton T-shirt, and by the first third of the match that's completely soaked and it's wet and it's heavy and it's weighing me down, and wondering why would someone have a better alternative to that soaking wet cotton T-shirt? And the idea was well, what if on my lower body I always wore synthetic shorts that I would wear for competition, kind of like a compression short. But what if I wore something like that in the upper body and wore snug, kind of like a second skin, and it naturally wouldn't hold the moisture? And more importantly, wouldn't hold the weight, and allowed you to function and be more free as an athlete and not be constricted and weighed down. And so I thought there had to be a better alternative, and that's where the idea from Under Armour really came from.
Yeah, Under Armour, this brand was founded in 1996, 30 years later than Nike. Back then, how did you to create your own sports brand against such a global leading giant, which had been, we could say, dominating the sportswear market?
Well, first of all, I never started Under Armour, and I get a lot as people say, can you believe it? Is it amazing? Do you pinch yourself? And one of the answers that I always give is, I never knew exactly what Under Armour would look like 20 years later as we sit here in our 20th year. And I never had this big grand vision. I just never believed it couldn't happen. What I thought is that, tomorrow is going to be better than today. Next week better than last week, next month, next year, this year. And that type of approach is that so many people, I think they spend time putting so much anxiety on themselves of, I've got to come up with, what's the big idea? What's this masterful thing that I'm going to do? And for me, it was about, as an athlete, is that I just wanted to solve a problem. I just wanted to make a better T-shirt for football players. And then as I went out and didn't know anything about manufacturing and said, I've heard of this place called the Garment District in New York City, and I just drove up to 34th and 7th Avenue, parked my car, and walked around and found a manufacturer, and I made up some shirts, and then I tried them on my teammates, and they liked them. And then of the teammates I tried them on, not just football players, but one also played baseball too. And the baseball players started wearing them. And then of the baseball players, the lacrosse players. And then the girlfriends were lacrosse players, and she played lacrosse. And I realized this wasn't just an individual idea, but it had all this bandwidth and all this growth. And I just never prevented myself from thinking how big the company could be. And that was the most important thing, is that idea, that mantra that lives for Under Armour is called I Will. And you know, it's there for a reason, is that it was up to no one else except for me to believe that, you know, why not us?
Wow, there are so much similarity between entrepreneur spirit and excellent athlete spirit.
Yes.
It's the same. It's the same.
Very much.
Kevin, you will always represent the core value of your brand, and you have also signed so many outstanding athletes for celebrity endorsement.
Yes.
The NBA two-time MVP Stephen Curry is
Yes.
absolutely one of the most talked about person in sports this year.
Yes.
How did you persuade Curry to switch to Under Armour for your brand ambassador?
You know, one of the things we say is that we've had a pretty amazing run with athletes, from 4 reigning MVPs of major sports leagues, which was the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NHL, and of course Stephen in the NBA, plus the PGA Player of the Year in Jordan Spieth. So Under Armour's had an amazing run with athletes and assets. And the one consistent theme that rings true for all of them is that they all remain, they're better people than they are athletes, if you can even imagine that. And we've demonstrated a really good ability for us to be able to sign athletes just before they become really, really good. And so we're really pushing, you know, toward that with the impact that like a Stephen has. You know, he believed in the brand, and he identified with us before really we even identified with him.
Wow. Well, I know that 1 year after you signed Stephen Curry, the global sale jumped to 350%.
Yes.
And Curry's signature shoes also many NBA huge stars, superstars.
Yes.
However, I heard people always say that Curry is not a typical NBA fierce and aggressive players in terms of his image. Yeah. What do you see in Curry? What is the unique charm of Curry that makes so many people love him?
So first of all, Stephen Curry has made our company look incredibly smart, right? And just like wind up Stephen, let him go do what he does, which is inspires people, is a great teammate, as well as he scores a lot of points and wins a lot of games. So I think that, you know, there's no one, you know, when you think about like the impact of having a great athlete, of having a great asset like that, there was no one formula. And I do believe that, you know, when we've demonstrated a real high likelihood to our ability to sign athletes as they get great. No one had heard of Jordan Spieth before we signed him.
Oh, really? Oh.
Stephen Curry, I mean, we signed him at 19 years old coming out. Stephen Curry, again, was another athlete who was someone that, you know, the world hadn't really gotten to know Stephen Curry. He hadn't made his first All-Star team until we signed him. And Andy Murray, you know, is someone that, you know, I think probably hadn't had as much support as he could have. And now Andy coming off a Wimbledon win, as well as heading into the US Open. We'll see how he finishes there. And then Michael Phelps was, again, somebody I think that people had passed on before going into the Rio Games. So I do believe that there's a DNA in our brand that, number one, it allows athletes to believe in themselves. Is that so often, look, we all have anxiety, we all have self-doubt, we all have these feelings of emotion. But when you know that someone believes in you, like what we say is, like that idea is something which is so, it's so real, it's so human, it's so aspirational, and frankly, it's so Under Armour, and that's what comes through from our company, our brand, and the products that we put out there for consumers.
引颈期盼，满满的球迷聚集在 Under Armour 大安旗舰店外，不少人身上穿的、手上拿的是 Curry 的30号球衣，即使进不去，也希望有机会看到本尊。Curry 一现身，店内工作人员也疯狂。这场活动，他和2位幸运小粉丝见面，也是 Curry 宝岛初体验，第一次和台湾媒体互动。 这时 UA 的创办人 Kevin Plank 站在角落，拿着手机录影，捕捉大家对 Curry 的热爱。UA 之于 Curry 之于 UA， 彼此是对方的千里马和伯乐。
And all along the way, you look at the last 13 years, really put us in a position to have someone as special as Stephen. And it was like all these things coming together at one moment in time that allowed for, I think, our product to be at the right place at the right time. It's been a pretty special thing for the brand.
Curry 代言的球鞋，今年销售额预估将高达$1.6亿，可能超越所有现役篮球员。全球席卷的 Curry 热潮，让 UA 这个20岁的年轻运动品牌备受注目。 其实过去 Curry 是知名运动品牌的球员，但似乎对他兴趣缺，出现了简报中把 Stephen Curry 拼成 Stephen Curry 这样的错误。2013年合约到期时，对方拒绝了 Curry 的报价，UA看准时机签下他。
说他们并不是说别人不要什么我去捡他，其实并不是这个样子。他其实早就有自己的规划，而且在雷达幕以下看到他们想要的人。因为其实我为什么说雷达幕以下呢？因为如果是在雷达幕以上的球员的话，那基本上大型品牌公司就会先把他抢走，而且用非常广大的资源来跟你竞争。
所谓雷达幕以下的球员，指的是 Curry 的隐性天分，像是他的眼手协调、传球投篮的准确度。Curry 不是用弹跳力多好、冲撞力量多大，或是大肌肉这样的显性天分吸睛。UA 慧眼识英雄，其实 Curry 跟品牌特性和崛起有着相似的基因。脸色红润、笑眯眯的 Kevin Plank， 讲话手势不少，非常开朗。他的胸背相当厚实，因为 Kevin Plank 是运动员出身，美式足球队长。自己经验棉踢黏哒哒的感觉，决定开发新材质，就在祖母家的地下室创业。说他是流汗耕耘，20年收割，一点也没错。
就我们在运动的过程中，头是这个热量排出最多的，再来就是脊椎，所以我们就会在这个脊椎这边让它这个通风啊会更好一点。我想我们创办人因为是运动员出身嘛，那其实所有的运动员都一样，他大概花99%的时间在做训练，事实上上场只占了1%。那所以所有的 training 呢是所有运动的最根本。
Kevin Plank 所有产品全是机能衣，从一开始咬定训练系列，区隔前辈品牌，可能偏向球场外，甚至发展日常生活的休闲服。Kevin Plank 专心经营专业运动的款项。口白不多，甚至没有说一句话的广告，想要呈现的就是运动员绝大部分时间都是在跟意志力挑战的自我训练。所以 Kevin Plank 选择代言人，比起挑选天生王者型的英雄，更青睐苦练、心理素质坚强的人。老板的运动员背景决定了价值取向。对 Kevin Plank 来说，台湾无疑是他的福地，没有台湾的供应商，就没有稳定的机能布料。机器旁边的白板特别写着工单有 UA， 都需要剪布块、测雨铃，显示有多慎重。这是得力台南工厂 UA 合作10年，从 UA 还不那么知名时就一起成长。
它有规定一个标准值，那我们要每一杆控制到那样子的标准，
都要控制在那个范围。
对，啊，就是它特别捕摸啊。
对颜色要求严格，马虎不得。当客户不断研发各种机能布，台湾的 UA 供应商说，只为了一个特殊的染剂颜色，能达到美国那边的要求。
我们当初投入了许多的成本，跟 UA 去合作开发这个冷黑的技术。那因为它是特殊的染料，所以呢，我们一再实验，几乎是每生产2码就丢1码的这个成本在投入。那我们也实验了1年。
Under Armour 的中文意思是藏身于铠甲之下，那些看不到的细节，机能布的研发，更或是顶尖运动员日积月累扎实训练，难以被外界窥视，却是一步一脚印，才能在近乎肉搏的全球市场上踩出自己的一条大道。每一个国际性品牌靠的不是表面上花大钱行销而已，而是骨子里日新又新的翻转，才能全球插旗。
Yeah, Kevin, when we talk about the special personal trait of an outstanding athlete, not many football players can successfully turn to successful entrepreneur like you. you start your business without enough money for marketing. So you just said you test your functional shirts on X team members and then test on others. That's how you do the marketing. Right. Now Under Armour is globally operating. How do you keep on consumer experience that you value so much?
Right. You know, when I started the company, I was the consumer. And it was very simple, sitting in my grandmother's basement in a little row house in Washington,
D.C.
Yeah,
we heard that story. What would it be like?
Wow. You know, I didn't know any better. Again, I didn't set out to build a global brand. I set out to make the world's greatest T-shirt for football players. And then watching sort of it evolve from, I'm going to make the world's greatest short sleeve T-shirt. And then the need was, well, geez, it's not just hot because the season goes from warm weather into cold weather. So do we have a long sleeve version? And then do we have a rain version? And then, you know, we love the tops. Do you make something in the shorts? And
it's
not
just expanding.
And then I don't just love compression, but I love loose as well. And so it's this evolution of, number one, listening to the consumer at every step and making sure, and as we've grown, as now I turned 40, our company turns 20, and I turned 44 this year, you know, I'm not as close to that consumer. So the benefit I have is having partners like Stephen Curry, partners like Tom Brady, partners like Jordan Spieth, partners like Michael Phelps, and partners like Andy Murray, who are keeping us youthful and helping us understand what the athlete, what to make to be the very best athlete, to be the best at what you do. We can infuse that into every product that we build. And with that, we can hopefully infuse a bit of hope and inspiration as well that allows little kids to go like this.
I see. But you still keep yourself as close as you can be to the customer, right? Of course.
You can never be too close to the customer. And that's why having stores like this, you know, is an amazing experience for us of getting real-time feedback and information. And we do that through both an amazing set of wholesale partners that we have around the world, but also when we can have a direct conversation with the consumer, there's nothing like hearing it for yourself.
There's a slogan from one successful Under Armour advertising campaign saying, you are repeatedly what you do when things get hard. Since the launch of Under Armour, have you ever encountered any development bottleneck? And how did you lead your team to take the extra mile and eventually pull through the crisis?
Yes, I mean, we've had several of them. I'll give you a good one. When we first tried getting into the women's business, this is back in, company started in 1996, this is 2002. We were going to launch our first women's line, and this became from an overwhelming demand. We were selling men's products, but all of a sudden we noticed the smaller sizes of our men's product began to sell. And we had a demand from our customers, which were mostly wholesalers, and they said, can you make women's? I said, yeah, we can make women's. And we made, you know, so I said, we're going to come out with our first women's line. Nothing complicated. A women's top, a women's short, sport bra, you know, a pair of leggings. It wasn't very complicated. And as we went through this and we were evaluating what are the right products to make, it was, at the time, I think it was 12 men sitting around a table anticipating what our wives or girlfriends might have actually liked. And so we went out, we built this product, we had it ready to ship, and it was going to be in the, I think the middle of 2003. And it was a big deal, middle of 2002. And we were on our way to, I think, a $20 or $50 million company that year. And we had about $1 million worth of product, of cost good product that we were going to sell in the market. Wow. And I got the product there, we were ready to ship it out, and then I looked at it. And I recognized that what we had actually done with this product, it was incredibly masculine, it was incredibly like rough, it like wasn't like soft, it looked like a bunch of boys had basically made women's product. And this idea of shrink it and pink it that we had was not really going,
terrible.
Shrink it and pink it would not work. And so we ended up burning all that product.
Burning it, actually?
Burning it and taking a hit, because the one thing we realized is that some of the best decisions we've made as a company are the ones we didn't screw up. You know, we hadn't violated the trust of that female consumer. And if we'd shipped that product, it probably wouldn't have been everything that she would have wanted. And that was protecting the brand. Everything comes back to the brand. You know, it's not just we can charge a little more because Stephen Curry happens to be a hot athlete and we can sell more for his shoe. It's like the build that's in that shoe, it's a fair and reasonable price. The consumer has an expectation of what they're going to get from the Under Armour brand.
Well, this experience is so impressive.
Yeah.
Kevin, when it comes to entrepreneurial spirit, what hasn't changed ever since the launch?
I think that being an entrepreneur, you know, it's a mindset. It's an attitude, and it's one that, you know, we really are, you know, incredibly proud of. I mean, I think that I love what I do. I mean, I love my company. I mean, I love my city where we're headquartered. I love the headquarters we have all over the world. And you can't just say that. It's got to be felt. And I love competition. You know, I love the ability to compete against the biggest and the best. Is that we didn't get in this to be a nice little local or regional or national brand. We got in this to be the next great global brand. And when we do that, we've constantly found ways to be able to go for it with betting the right amount. You know, we didn't just wake up one day and say, we deserve to be a global brand. Or they have so many other resources, they have so many other assets, they have such a bigger budget. It's finding ways of, like, when we got in the partnership with Stephen, it's when, you know, we could afford to get in the partnership with Stephen. When we got in the partnership of our other athletes, it's that we've always played a game big enough. And what you're seeing is a bigger presence in Asia is because we've earned the right to create a bigger presence. And this isn't, you know, this company wasn't handed down. There's nobody that I can ask for a bigger check. You know, all we can do is continue to run and operate our business the way that we know how to today. Of thinking to myself, you know, did I pick the right idea? Have I wasted all this money? Now I'm broke, what am I going to do? And that validation of, you know, opening that envelope and seeing that money there, it was one of those moments that I said to myself, I'll never doubt what I'm doing ever again, and I know I'm on the right path, and I know this is meant to be.